Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Offhand. My name is Andy, his name is Steven, and today we're going to be talking about, are the Buffalo Bills the next New England Patriots? What we mean by that is, are they going to be running the AFC East for the next few years? Are they going to be the next dynasty of the NFL? We're going to talk about all of that. But Steven, how are you feeling today, man?
I'm doing quite swell. And yourself, Andrew?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty good. So you ready to hop into this?
Sure thing.
All right. So when we first kind of thought about this idea of possibly talking about the Bills becoming the next New England Patriots, I kind of thought, what do the Buffalo Bills need in order to do that? And then I thought, what did the Patriots have to do that? So I kind of broke it down to four things, and we'll just go one by one to talk about all of it. So first, it was a Hall of Fame head coach with Bill Belichick. Then they had a Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady, both of them some of the best ever in what they did. They had a perennial top tier defense, never the best, but always up there. And then the Patriots way, a thing that no statistic can really quantify, but it's something so crucial to that team because it's been mimicked, but never been done the same way as the Patriots were able to cultivate it and make it work in their locker room. So let's first talk about head coach, Hall of Fame head coach. Patriots had Bill Belichick. The Buffalo Bills have Sean McDermott. Do you think that Sean McDermott or the coaching staff as a whole can emulate Bill Belichick?
I think he's already in his third season and he's already following the same footsteps as Bill Belichick did in his first few seasons with the Patriots. Obviously, with the Browns, he made the playoffs and he made the playoffs with the Browns for their first playoff appearance. And what year was that? Do you know what year at all or no?
I don't know.
But that was their first playoff appearance. And after he left, he went to, I think, the Jets. And then literally the same day, he went to the Patriots. Or not, he didn't go to the Patriots, but he like resigned from the Jets. I mean, as soon as he got to the Patriots, he had Tom. Well, he had Drew Bledsoe, and then he had Tom Brady as a backup, and then obviously, you know the rest. The rest is history with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Hmm.
So I see a lot of the same, similarities between Josh Allen and Sean McDermott.
Yeah, both of them seem to really know how to kind of get a locker room to rally and get a locker room to be behind them.
Buy in.
Because, yeah, to buy into the culture that they're trying to put out there, into the schemes that they have. And I think what's really helped because I know you believe more that it's kind of like just Sean McDermott is kind of embodying Bill Belichick. I think this whole coaching staff is going to be needed to do that. And for reference, the coaching staff of the Bills is Sean McDermott, the head coach, who got there in 2017, Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator, who got there in 2017, Brian Dable, who got there in 2018. He's the offensive coordinator. So this group has been together pretty much the whole time. And you can kind of see the change that they've been able to install in the Bills. They've been able to make real changes to where in 2018, when they all got together, they were 6-10 with a rookie Josh Allen. Then they went 10-6 in 2019, and then 13-3 now in 2020. So they've been able to help this team dramatically make their schemes work around the talent that they have and really build something up here, which is really, really impressive.
Like I said before, this conversation is discipline.
Yeah.
So you're never going to see a bad word in the media about the Bills, just like you never really see a bad word in the media about the Patriots. So kind of goes along those same lines.
Yeah. They really do have their stuff together and they look ahead. They really do.
Yeah.
They don't dwell on anything too much. They're very focused on what they need to do.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's switch to quarterback. Hall of Fame quarterback. They had Tom Brady, greatest of all time. If you don't think he's the greatest of all time, you definitely have him at least in your top three. That's for sure. That can't be argued at least.
Yeah.
So do you think that Josh Allen could at least maybe not be a Tom Brady? I know how you feel about it. I know how you feel about it. But maybe just be closer, be the Tom Brady that this organization needs to become a dynasty or at least run the division for the next
I
few years.
think he's going to get them to where they need to be. I think he's going to win football games. That's really why they hired him in the first place. So that's really all there is to it. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he's like I think he's going to be better than Tom Brady. But right now that's just a prediction. I can't really prove that. So
Hmm. Yeah, Josh Allen has had a really not necessarily a great career. He has had a good career, but it's the development that we see every single
it's
year.
it's a career of complete and utter progress, and
Yeah.
it's year by year he's
Hmm.
progressing.
Yeah.
So, and it's
And
exciting to see.
I keep referencing it. I'm gonna keep referencing it as well. In 2018, when the whole band got together, all the coaches, that was Josh Allen's rookie year as well. So
Yep.
they've all been growing together, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
But in 2018, they had 30th ranked offense. Josh Allen, the quarterback, was 31st in passing. They had the 31st passing offense.
Yeah.
Then in 2019, they had 23rd offense. Josh Allen got a lot better, threw for 1,000 more yards, doubled his touchdowns, and threw less picks. So big improvement. Became kind of an average quarterback really that year. But then this season, the guy just took off. They had the
Yep.
number 2 ranked offense. Josh Allen's third in passing, had MVP votes, threw for 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks. The guy had an amazing season and really
Yeah.
just blew up on the spot. So it makes sense that it's not like this season didn't come out of the blue. He's
Yeah.
been putting in the work and improving each and every single year.
Everyone else did not see this coming, but the Bills, Sean McDermott, Josh
Mm-hmm.
Allen, everyone in that organization saw this coming from every single ounce of preparation that they've had along these 3 years. So,
Yeah, and the guy, when he was getting drafted, they kind of the talk about him was that the arm talent was there. The guy could make every throw on the
yeah,
field. That was not an argument. It was more about his decision making. And we could kind of see that this past season. That was always a talk about his decision making, kind of what type of Josh Allen are you going to get that day. There were a few games he'd be really consistently good, then there'd be maybe 1 or 2 games he'd be bad. And we kind of saw it this weekend when they were playing against Baltimore. Baltimore has a pretty decent defense. They forced Josh Allen to beat him within first 10, 20 yards. Didn't really let him
mhm.
go deep, but you'd still see the guy just chuck it as far as he could,
The guy
even though
is
the guy was
not
double teamed.
he is not afraid to throw it and go loose with it either, and that's really what a lot of GMs are looking for. So, obviously smart decision making is essential too, but
Mm-hmm.
he's also not nervous of taking shots down the field to Stephon Diggs or McKenzie. I don't know his first name, but I know his last name's McKenzie, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
gnat on the field.
Yeah.
So,
And Stephon Diggs has been amazing for them this season, too.
yeah.
This is his first season, if I'm not wrong. This is his first season, right, with the team?
Yes, and a
Yeah.
complete game changer.
Yeah, 2020 kind of messed up my perspective of time, so I don't. That's why I wasn't really sure if Diggs got there this
That's
season.
that's why I'm even more impressed with this 2020 Bills team, just
For
because
sure.
it was a season that was just everyone was going down. A whole bunch of players were getting either injured or on the COVID reserve,
Hmm.
and they literally just prevailed the whole
Yeah,
entire season. Went
save that
13.
thought. Save that thought because that's gonna go into when we talk about the Patriots way for sure.
Gotcha.
But what do you think about the pairing of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen? Do you think they'll be able to keep him long term? Do you think they'll keep this type of
I think
productivity?
I think if Stephon Diggs produces the same numbers, if not more, than he did this season and transfers it to next season, 100% they're going to keep him long term. And why wouldn't Stephon Diggs want to be in a Buffalo Bills jersey
Hmm.
long term? I mean, he was with Minnesota, I don't know, for like 3 years, and definitely did not go his way, besides the Minneapolis Miracle. But other than that, really nothing. He never got along with his quarterback like he does with Josh Allen.
Hmm.
Really and truly, now I think my take is that Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs is the new Joe Montana to Jerry Rice.
That's such a bold take. That's such a
I mean,
bold
that's
take.
just it's what I think. They go down the field, they drive down the field very easily, almost too easily,
Hmm.
and they put up massive numbers. They put up 38 points against the Patriots. It was 38-9 in week 16. To
Yeah.
do that to the Patriots, that kind of solidifies,
Yeah,
you know.
and the Patriots do have a good defense this year too.
Yeah,
They had a very mediocre year, but the defense was astounding. It was
yeah,
awesome. It was
as always.
great. But
Yeah,
what you're saying with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, I don't know if it's going to be that great, that dynamic of a duo. But if you are saying that they're going to be a dynasty and they're going to be, or at the minimum, running the division, this pairing is going to be essential to it because, like you said,
100%.
Montana had Rice, Brady had Moss for a while. He had Edelman, he had Welker. He's always had kind of somebody there in the mix with him. Gronk, there's always somebody there.
Yeah.
So if they can't have Diggs, though, who do you think that they should replace him with if something happens down the line with contracts or whatever? Because Diggs is young, so he should be there forever, but we know the NFL is a business.
Someone in free agency.
I mean,
I
obviously,
mean,
but
there's the Allen Robinson's going to free agency. Marvin Jones is going to free agency. Devontae Adams is at one point or another going to free agency. Sadly, I know
I
you're a
mean,
Packer fan,
I
but
mean more. Yeah, no, it'd be terrible if they lost him. I mean more though, like the type of person that you think they should bring in,
oh, like
type
their
of
play
skill set.
style.
Yeah,
I'd say probably like a little bit, obviously around the speed of Tyreek Hill, but a little bit around the same height as Stephon Diggs or someone just a little bit taller or shorter than him, but around that
okay.
same height.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely a speedster would be
Yeah.
ideal. Definitely a speedster that can
Deep
take the
threat.
top off the defense would be great. But I
Yeah.
think what they kind of need now, since they kind of have that Stephon Diggs more or less a guy that can go deep, and Josh Allen can use his cannon of an arm. They probably need somebody more like a Wes Welker right now. Probably someone that
Yeah.
they can kind of dink and dunk to, and kind of just more of a possession type of receiver. I don't think they really have that right now.
I mean, they
It,
have Cole Beasley, but that's about it. He's the only one that really reminds me of a Wes Welker,
yeah,
Julian Edelman type player.
yeah, that's true. Cole Beasley can probably take care of that role for a while. I know they also do have good tight ends. That's true. Yeah, they could probably
Yeah.
figure that out pretty well. However, they may need a run game because I know that was something that always happened with the Patriots is that you
They
knew they were
never,
gonna pass.
you knew they were going to pass, and they had like three starters at halfback, which was kind
Yeah,
of mind boggling to me, but it worked for obviously 6 Super Bowl championships. So,
yeah. And some of those runs they did have a pretty decent rushing attack.
yeah.
And the Bills used to have a pretty good rushing attack. 2018, they were ninth in rushing. 2018, they were ninth in rushing. 2019, they were eighth in rushing. And now 2020 went all the way down to 20th, where the backfield combined, the two running backs combined for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, with Josh Allen himself getting a little over 400 and 8 touchdowns, just as many touchdowns as that backfield. So he's not necessarily known as being like a run threat, but at least him running is going to be helpful if they don't have a run game, because like Tom Brady would never bust the pocket. So
Yeah, I don't think Josh Allen is fast. I think he's just more elusive than Tom Brady, and he could truck through people if he needs to.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, he's got that Derrick Henry body of being just 6'4" and just plowing through people, putting his
yeah,
knees into somebody's chest when he
it's
needs to.
scary. It is absolutely scary.
Always tall. That's the craziest thing. He's built to be a quarterback. He's like a prototypical quarterback. He really is in terms of size and
Yeah,
everything.
I mean,
It's crazy.
yeah, that's he's the token quarterback. Literally,
It's ridiculous. All right, now let's go to the other side of the ball.
yeah,
Defense.
mhm,
The New England Patriots always had a really good defense. They had their leader in Dante Hightower leading that defense. How do you feel about this Bills defense this year and possibly in the future?
I think they could definitely work on it. I don't think they're terrible, but they could definitely work on it. And once they add a few key pieces to the defense, I think it's smooth sailing for the Buffalo Bills. So
Yeah, what pieces do you think they need?
I think they need a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I think they need an end, at least one end,
Mm.
and maybe a safety. Maybe though. I
Their
really that one's not desperate.
their safeties are pretty good. They're just a
Yeah,
little bit on the older side. That's the only
yeah,
problem. They're like, yeah, because it's Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, I believe,
yeah.
and they're both basically 30 years old.
So
So
you're
they should probably be looking for someone at least to develop
yeah.
to fill those roles in the near future. But they do have Tre'Davious White. I'm not fully sure if he's really the captain, I would say, of that defense, but he's definitely at least one of the leaders of it, I would
One
say.
of the big stars of that defense. So yeah.
Definitely one of the stars of that defense. And to kind of back up what you were saying about the edge, they probably do need more of some better people on the line, because even though the defense this year it was middle of the pack, when
Yeah.
they've had an amazing defense. Last year they were second in defense, but this
Yeah.
year they're ranked 16th.
Yeah.
And they were third in turnovers, which is great. They kept getting the ball back and being able to give it to the offense. Probably helped the offense why they did so good this season.
Yeah.
But they were eighth in blitz per drop back, 35.8%. So that means, to kind of break that down a little bit, is whenever they blitzed and the quarterback dropped back, it was about 35.8% of the time that they were doing that on a defensive set. The quarterback dropped back 35.8% of the time. They were blitzing. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So you would think, right? That's like, oh, they're getting a lot of pressure. That's why there's so many turnovers. No, they were 23rd in quarterback pressure per drop back. So they were blitzing all the time, but it hardly made a difference.
Because people knew they were blitzing.
It's but it's a really weird thing. So it's like you maybe they should be blitzing less unless they get somebody maybe in the draft, they get a D lineman that could maybe beef them up. That's probably wouldn't be a bad idea. That's probably a pretty good
Yeah.
idea. Because if you're blitzing that much, you really need to have better pressure. You have way better pressure.
100%. If you're blitzing and you're getting absolutely no pressure, then I mean, your line, not your safeties or,
Mhm.
corners or anything like that, but your line in specific is just awful. It has to be. There's no one on your line worth even a name. So,
Yeah, that'd probably be my only real concern about this team, about the Bills team,
yeah.
is their defense. I'm not too concerned about it though because historically they've had a really good defense since Leslie Frazier has been there.
Yeah.
They've always had a top 10 defense. Like I said last year, they were actually second, only behind Green Bay.
Yeah.
So
Everyone's definitely allotted like one bad year. Not one bad year, but like one off year. If that
uh,
makes any sense.
and let me fix that. It wasn't behind Green Bay. It was behind New England, which is pretty funny. They're actually behind New England with the second best defense.
Uh,
So they're actually like they can put it together. Leslie Frazier
100%.
knows what he's doing there. It was just one weird season for him. And like you were saying with COVID and everything like that, that definitely has an impact.
Yeah.
So we could probably slide that this year, probably continue having a great defense, a perennial defense to help them run the division for the next few years.
I mean,
So
imagine how good your team has to be when we're talking about all their weaknesses and they're still going 13-3.
yeah,
So,
exactly. That's why it's really crazy. And not too much is gonna change. That's again, they almost lost Brian Dable, but Dable said he's coming back. So you're still keeping that coaching core together. There's stability in the locker room. And with stability in the locker room, it helps create a culture,
yeah.
which helps us transition to the Patriots way. The Patriots way was a culture created by New England, by Bill Belichick, by Tom Brady. That's a next man up mentality.
Do your job. Yep.
Do your job, and everyone bought in, and that's how they won so many rings. They got veterans to buy in, they got young guys to buy in. That's something a lot of coaches, a lot of people that were under Belichick tried to go out and do, but they weren't able to have the same success because it didn't work out. All his
Yeah.
little underlings, his
Disciples.
disciples, however you see it, they went out and they couldn't get it done. But so do you think
Well,
the Bills could kind of manage a Patriots way, maybe a Bills way, if they can in the locker room?
that's the thing. Like I get why you're calling it the Patriot way because it's Bill Belichick. He's obviously going to be the winningest. I think he is the winningest coach in NFL history. But I think Sean McDermott's just going to top all that. I mean, it's scary. It's scary. I'm sorry. It's absolutely scary how young of a team he has,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going 13-3 already. So if
No,
he's
for
going
sure.
13-3
Yeah.
with this young of a team, he's definitely going to do. Obviously, the AFC. I get what you're saying with the AFC East being a little bit more difficult um, in years to come. But and yeah, obviously Brady and Belichick have had the like give me AFC East of for the last decade or two. But I mean now it's not the same AFC East. So I get why you think he might not get 6 rings or something like that. But
Well, I wouldn't say it's just because the AFC East is just kind of who's out there,
yeah,
right? In in the AFC, you have Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
you have Lamar Jackson,
yeah,
and I don't mean to dish on anyone's favorite team, but that's essentially like the top guys that we know for sure are going to be there all the time. Those two, and Josh Allen's going to have to go through those two. And Patrick Mahomes is proving to be possibly the greatest quarterback of all time as well. Um, so it's going to create some hype there for sure.
yeah.
That Josh Allen is going to have to go through Pat Mahomes, who's already won a Super Bowl, already won an MVP. That's kind of who he has to compare himself to, and how he has to try to look to be better than him.
It's definitely a hard test, but it's not impossible. So we'll
But I
see.
kind of I kind of want to go back to the Patriots way though. So you were
Yep.
saying because it's true what you were saying with COVID and everything,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily a new scheme. They have Leslie Frazier there. That stability helps. That's probably the reason why they were able to do so good this season is because everyone in that locker room bought in. Everyone already kind of believes that hey, it's like we can go out and win a Super Bowl. We have all the pieces here. Why can't we go out and do it ourselves? And everyone bought in. Everyone believes in that. So maybe it's not like the Patriots way. Probably it doesn't seem like it's as strict as Bill Belichick made it.
Definitely not, because they could talk.
Yeah, it's a lot more freedom in it, but it's definitely maybe a modern variation of the Patriots way that Sean McDermott has going on over there in Buffalo. And it's definitely great to see that all his players are bought in, and that's why they're doing so great.
All his players think about is football. You go to any, I'm going to call it a poverty organization, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're called nowadays when you just are awful.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm sure any of their players after that 115 season are just happy to be millionaires and billionaires and everything like that.
Nah,
So
I'm sure there's a lot of guys that just want to leave
I
that team
know,
as
but
well. Like
there's also
I
guys
can
on there that
imagine
are just
most of that team like signed up for that. Like I can't imagine that. I really
I
can't.
don't know.
That'd be terrible. That's just you just don't want to be competitive then if you're just signing up for that. You're either like
I
some
mean,
vet just trying to collect a check or
I'd be a third stringer for 800K.
shoot, man. I mean, like I'd hop over there for like $200 a week. Like I'll take that. It doesn't even have to be $1,000. Just give me something. I'm sitting there like sure. Gosh, I'm ready. I'll take a check.
I
Shoot.
would literally take the biggest hits for 800K a year. I don't even care.
Yo, I'm way underbidding you. I think they'll take me over you. I'm way underbidding you. I'll do it for like $100, bro. Like it's not a big deal.
I'm definitely not taking a hit from Sam Darnold. I mean,
I'll take a hit from Sam Darnold. I'll take a hit from
uh,
Sam Darnold.
I'll take it from Sam Darnold.
But let's talk about that. The rest of the division. So we have New England, we have Miami, who's kind of on. Well, let me rephrase that. I was going to say they're both on the up and coming teams. New England isn't really up and coming, but Miami is up and coming. New England's kind of just figuring things out this season. The Jets, we have no idea what's going on over there. But with those two teams, New England, Miami, do you think we can kind of count them out? Do you think they're going to have a lot of pushback on the Bills these next 5 years or so?
I never think you can count out Bill Belichick. It's Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. However, I do think the Dolphins, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan, I think they have a bigger pushback in the sense of, they just got their franchise QB. They're going to draft either.
We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes. We just got our franchise QB. They just got, or they're going to get someone in the draft, whether it be a wide receiver or a running back, that's just going to add to that offense.
Yeah.
And we're eventually going to hire a new offensive coordinator, which I really hope is not Adam Gase, but
There's
you
no
never
way
know.
that guy's coming back.
You
There's
absolutely
no way that guy's
never
coming
know.
back. No, there's no way.
You never know with these people.
But both teams do have a lot of pieces in play. Somehow Bill Belichick was able to figure out the New England defense and actually come out with a pretty good defense this year. Miami also top tier defense, been amazing. Both of them just have some questions on offense, but it's not very simple questions because it's all around the biggest position in football, which is quarterback.
Yeah.
Tua, you say he's their guy. They said he was their guy, but there's been some talks, so we don't fully know. That one we're gonna have to play out and really see because he had kind of a rough season. And then New England, they had Cam Newton, so Cam Newton's not a bad quarterback. Is he great? Probably not anymore. But now we know that you can't just put any type of quarterback in that scheme, and Bill Belichick's gonna make that guy work and win a Super Bowl right away. That's kind of been proven at least. So they got to find their guy, and that might take some time as well.
Yeah, of course. So
it's gonna be interesting to see how those two teams try to combat the Bills and with this upcoming season and these next few seasons.
Well, you never know. Obviously, we have Brian Flores now as the Dolphins head coach. We always can, like I said, never count out Bill Belichick as the New England Patriots head coach. So it's definitely going to be an interesting division to watch. So
it's the AFC, I think, definitely got way more exciting though. The AFC
100%.
is going to get way more exciting because even though media keeps talking about Patrick Mahomes is elite, one of the best quarterbacks possibly ever already.
Yeah.
Lamar is super exciting to watch, so it makes sense. But now to kind of have this guy, Josh Allen, who is just a loose cannon, essentially,
Came
but
out
not
of
with a really good team.
nowhere.
Yeah, so it's literally out of Wyoming. So it's gonna be playing for Buffalo. So it's gonna be really interesting to kind of see all of this play out between those three guys, and they're young, so it's kind of the new version of like a Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type of dynamic between
I
those
mean,
three
just look
guys in
at
the
look at the
AFC.
list. Look at the list of quarterbacks that are in the AFC, like you said. Pat Mahomes, obviously, like you said, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, but now rookies. And I'm not even going to list to it. Look at Justin Herbert. You
Justin
know that guy
Herbert.
has a
Yeah,
massive future. You know
yeah,
he does.
yeah. We're gonna see
So,
how he plays out. That's gonna be really interesting. Joe Burrow
so
as well. If the Bengals
y-
get an offensive line and actually
yeah,
protect the guy, that would be
yeah.
big. Probably beneficial to their team and them winning some
Hopefully not
things
tear
in the
another
AFC.
ACL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put that on Joe, man. That's just on the coach. But we're not gonna talk about the Bengals. We're not gonna talk about the Bengals. That's just that's how poorly run organizations.
Yeah.
But this organization, the Buffalo Bills, is definitely set up. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to be a dynasty like a 20-year span like Patriots were able to do. That was something that no other team has really been able to do, or only a handful in reality. So I wouldn't say honestly that they're gonna be able to do that like for sure. But it's definitely in the deck. It is definitely possible for them to be competing at least like AFC championship games
Yeah.
because the division is maybe not weak, but it's not going to be that competitive at least for a couple more years. So they can
Yeah.
definitely take advantage of that and make a couple runs with all the skills that they have. Thank you everyone for watching the offhand. Please check us out. Check out the other type of content on the channel. We have a few documentaries. There's going to be a new one coming out soon. We're going to have a Stefan Diggs one coming out soon. So it's going to be really cool. We're going to have more videos like this, hopefully weekly. So definitely subscribe, like. We have follow us on Instagram, Twitter. It's the_off_hand. Put it in the description and just keep checking us out. Glad to have you here. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steven, for being here as well.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Hope everyone has a good day. Bye.